Hello and welcome to another edition of EKKO Title's The Pulse, our video series full of information to help you as a real estate professional keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in today's real estate market. I'm Marcus Simon. I manage our EKKO Title McLean office, and today I'm joined by Michele Freemyers from our Fredericksburg office, and we're here to talk to you about common interest communities, right? And this is a relatively new term. We're used to talking about homeowners associations and resale disclosure packages, and condo associations and resale certificates, and sometimes even co-ops. But since July 1st of this year, we're starting to talk about everything as a common interest community, meaning the legislature recently passed a law to combine all the resale disclosure provisions of the old Condominium Act and the Homeowners Association Act and the Co-op Act into one new Resale Disclosure Act that applies uniformly to all the different types of property ownership schemes. And so it's a pretty big change in a couple of different ways. Mostly what we've done is consolidate things for uniformity's sake. And so Michele, tell us a little bit about what it is that putting this all together allows us to do and what some of the benefits of having that kind of uniformity are.
So perhaps the best thing about these changes is that the resale certificate that you all are going to receive is going to be standardized. The form is now standardized, and the order in which things are presented is standardized. So the statute lays out 30 items that should be included in this resale certificate, and they're each going to be under different tabs. So you will know, for example, if you're looking for HOA violations, that will be, for example, under tab 26. If you need to know if home-based businesses are allowed, that's under a different tab number. But all of the associations, from the large management companies to those volunteer boards that we deal with, have to use the same form. And so when you get it, you're going to know where to look, what to do. One of the other helpful things is that there's 30 items in the statute that are supposed to be included. And oftentimes when you get those packets, you don't know, do we have everything? Is everything in here? Are there things missing? Now, if things do not apply, there's going to be a page that says this page intentionally left blank. So you'll know, for example, they don't have any rules or restrictions on flags because there's nothing in that section. It says nothing, no items are in here.
Okay, that sounds great. So, I mean, that's a lot of good stuff. And we've actually required a lot of the associations, right? We said, hey, you guys got to change everything that you're doing, do it a new way, keep it uniform. But what is in it for the associations? What caused them to agree to all this? And that's sort of where you get the downside, which is the one thing that they really asked for in exchange for changing their process, doing all this the same way all the time, was the ability to get paid up front. And so what the association said is, we want to get the one thing that's been bugging us is people come, they order the package, we put it together, we give it to them, then the deal falls apart, and it takes us a long time to get paid. So the General Assembly said you can start to ask for payment in advance for these things. And guess what? Starting July 1st, they all do ask for payment in advance. And that was intended, I can tell you this as a member of the General Assembly, right? That was intended to really apply to that upfront package, that resale certificate that you get to begin with. But it turns out that the way the language is written, it applies to any request for information from the association. It has to be paid for before they have to give it to you. And that includes the periodic updates that settlement companies ask for. So we typically ask for a financial update about 2 weeks away from closing. We need to know, has the seller made the most recent payment or not? Have they been late? Are there some late fees that have been accruing? Sometimes there's extra money. Have they paid too much? And there's a floating balance. So we need to get that information. We don't want to get it too soon. So we try and get it a couple weeks before closing. And what we found is the associations are saying, yeah, we're happy to tell you that as soon as you pay us $70.50. We're like, well, we're not paying you $70. We don't have any money yet, right? The closing's not for another couple of weeks. We'll get money, on the closing date, but so we'll pay you then. And they're saying, no, the statute says we get paid in advance. And so now you got to go back to the seller and say, hey, we need this financial update so that we can help you sell your house. We need to get this information, but you've got to go back and pay for it. So you need to log in to the website or go contact your association, do whatever it needs to be done, figure out a way to make payment to them, and then have them send that information not to you, but to us as the settlement company. So that's something that listing agents in particular need to prepare your sellers for. And then the other thing that's interesting, we've noticed on the forum, the Facebook forum, that you real estate agents have pointed out is not only are they getting these fees in advance, but these fees all seem to have suddenly gone up. And what happened is, the bill allows the Common Interest Community Board, the board in Richmond, to set the maximum allowable fees, and they've recently published their schedule of maximum fees. And as soon as you cap a fee, what happens? Everybody who was charging less moves their fees right up to the cap. And if it allows fees for an expedite, if it allows fees for inspections, guess what? We're going to assume that you want it expedited unless otherwise required. We're going to go do an inspection, whether you need one or not, whether we did one last week or not, because we can charge another $150 for it. And we've heard reports, if you're in a condominium, it's in a homeowners association that has a cluster, of people paying upwards of $500 in advance just to get the process started. So something you need to start to prepare your sellers for, having to come up with this money, having to pay it in advance. Most everything else, we'll take it off the top, right? At settlement, it'll just be reduced from your proceeds. But this is an expense they're going to have to pay in advance. They need to get ready for that.
So Marcus, the fees going up pretty substantially have been kind of an issue. And this requirement that the seller pay these in advance has also, spurred a lot of discussion on the forum and within the realtor associations. That wasn't the intent. Is there some plan to go back and maybe address that? Or is there some way to make it not so sting so much?
Well, this is one of those situations where there are a number of things that you couldn't sort of figure out just looking at the bill as a piece of paper. Now that we've started to implement it, we've noticed that there are a number of things. And so I am fairly certain we will be addressing some substantial called mistakes or oversights or problems with the statute as now it's being implemented. First of all, we did a video a couple of weeks ago that explained that when we combined the homeowners association and the condo resale disclosure provisions together, an important piece was left out, which is this idea that you couldn't waive these rights and responsibilities in a contract. So you can now waive your right to receive the HOA and the condo docs. Nobody intended that to happen, but that you can do that now. And by the way, if you want to, for some reason you're in a competitive situation and you're going to waive your right to cancel, be careful to only waive your right to cancel after receiving the resale disclosure certificate, right? You don't want to say, I want to waive all my rights under the Resale Disclosure Act, because that includes the right to receive the packet itself, and you may not ever find out about title problems, about liens, about fines, about structural violations and things like that. So I think if you're inclined to do something, and take advantage of this maybe 6 or 7 month window that you have to enhance your contract by waiving something, I would recommend using language that says that the buyer waives their right to cancel under the Resale Disclosure Act after receiving the packet. So there's that right to cancel that kicks in, and lasts for 3 days or so after you receive the package. That's something that I think that I don't recommend it, but if you want to waive something, that would be the one to waive. But preserve your right to receive the package, because I think that's really essential to moving into a homeowners association or condo community. You need to know what the basic rules are. You need to know what you're buying. I think we will revisit the fees, in particular, this requirement that you pay for the financial update, because again, we don't want the seller ordering that and paying for it. That's really a responsibility of the settlement company. The settlement company doesn't have any money until after closing. So I think we'll probably close that one up. And there'll probably be some more that you guys on the forum will find for us and let us know about between now and January. And so I think this will be, we're keeping a running list of issues that need to be addressed the next time the legislature meets.
And feel free, guys, to give us a shout, reach out on the forum, give us calls in our office. We're happy to kind of walk through some of this with you. I know some of the sellers have been a little dismayed at it, so we're happy to help talk to them and explain the process to them. Hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, share it with your friends. It helps us get more coverage on the internet. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time.